Hi, I'm Chris Muchler, fractional CTO and principal enterprise architect from virtualelephant.com. And in this video, I'm excited to share with you Project SignalWave. Now, Project SignalWave is an application that I've written using ChatGPT almost entirely to be able to demonstrate the best practices when it comes to building out a Kubernetes cluster, the components that make up it, as well as being able to apply best practices from a cloud-native application perspective when writing new applications. I've created Project SignalWave as a way for new users to be able to learn the ins and outs of running a Kubernetes cluster and deploying applications leveraging microservices within it. This is a way for you to get better with your skill set in 2025. So let's get started. So before we dive into Project SignalWave and how I built it, first I'm going to show you a couple things that I have running within my environment so that you can understand all of the components that I deployed initially to be able to support the Kubernetes cluster before I started building and deploying the application Project SignalWave. So you can see here on the screen that I am running a vSphere-based environment, and this environment is built on top of VMware Cloud Foundation 5.2.1. And I'm running it in a consolidated VCF environment. If you'd like to learn more about my home lab itself, I'll link to the description below for the home lab video as well as the deployment video on VCF and how you can deploy VCF within your own environment. But you can see here that I have a Cilium-based Kubernetes cluster that I've deployed within this environment. And so I have a number of virtual machines within this environment that are building up this cluster. So you can see that I have a Bootstrap server. Now this Bootstrap server is where I'm actually deploying the application from. It's an opportunity for me to be able to build the Docker containers, to be able to pull down the Git repository and have a centralized location both for this Kubernetes cluster as well as other Cilium-based clusters that I'm running within the environment. Now, the Kubernetes cluster itself is made up of 3 controllers and 5 worker nodes. Now, the controller clusters are built out with 4 vCPUs and 4 gigabytes of memory. And then the worker nodes are actually 4 vCPUs and 8 gigabytes of memory to be able to have additional resources for the workloads that I'm running within the Kubernetes cluster. In addition to the worker nodes and the controllers, I have an HA proxy virtual machine that is running, and this HA proxy machine is front-ending the load balancer for the Kubernetes API service, which runs on port 6443, as well as a dedicated NFS server. Now, this NFS server is just a Linux server that I've exported one large secondary drive on this virtual machine that the Kubernetes cluster is going to leverage an NFS operator within to be able to dynamically create persistent volumes for my applications to be able to consume from. And from a bare bones perspective, this is really the minimum that you need for deploying the Project SignalWave application. I've chosen Cilium as my CNI within the environment, and I love Cilium. Some of the things that I love most about Cilium are the Grafana and Prometheus dashboards that Cilium publishes and that I've modified as part of Project SignalWave, and you'll see those within the Git repository, as well as being able to run the Hubble UI, which helps me to be able to understand all of the interactions between the different applications and pods running within my Kubernetes cluster. And so we're going to switch over to the Hubble view of Project SignalWave and the application so that you can see some of the interactions that I'm talking about. Now you can see here on the main screen of the Hubble UI that is showing you SignalWave, and that's the application, the deployment that I've created. And then you can see the different components running within it. So you can see that there's a RabbitMQ messaging service. There's an Nginx web front end. There's something called RRD Reader, and there's something called Publisher running within the environment. As well as you can see that Kubernetes ingress and then you can see the external connection out to the world. And so what Project SignalWave is doing as a demo application, remember, this is a demo application. This is a way for us to be able to get an app running, to be able to see the different ways to be able to apply best practices with building an app, as well as being able to understand the different components that we're going to need from our Kubernetes cluster to be able to support microservices applications. And so what it's doing is the publisher is actually a Python script running within a container, and it's going out to my website, virtualelephant.com, and it's gathering a number of network metrics from a connectivity perspective from where my environment is running to where my web service is running on my hosting provider. And it's really just a way to visualize these connections outbound. It's going to be a way for me able to write some eBPF policies in the future, as well as being able to demonstrate how to make sure that publisher is logging out to things like my Elk stack that are also running within this Kubernetes cluster. And then the RRD reader, after the publisher microservices writes those metrics onto the messaging queue, and I'll show you that in a moment, then the RRD reader goes out, it grabs those metrics off the queue, and then it creates the RRD files, which then the Nginx application front end is actually displaying in a graph format. So this here is the web UI that is running on Nginx. That is the front end of Project SignalWave. And so you can see here that it's merely displaying 4 different graphs, one for DNS resolution time, another for HTTP latency, packet loss, as well as jitter across the network connection between where my environment is and where my website, virtualelephant.com, is out on the internet. And so again, this is really a demonstration of how all of these microservices work together and how we deploy it. And so if we look here at RabbitMQ, you can see that I have a RabbitMQ service running within this namespace SignalWave for this application. I have a RabbitMQ operator that's running within the cluster that allows me to be able to dynamically create these RabbitMQ services within different namespaces as part of my Kubernetes service offering. And then it's backed up by that NFS server, and it dynamically creates those persistent volumes over NFS, and then keeps those persistent volumes when the pods restart and the daemon sets restart. So you can see here that I have a 3-node RabbitMQ system running. We can go over to the exchanges. We can see all of the defaults there. And then when we look at the queues and streams, we can see that I've created a SignalWave queue. You can see that there's currently 1 message, meaning that that publisher has just published something. It's doing that on an every 5-minute basis. Okay, and it's waiting for it to be popped off by the reader application, which is also running every 5 minutes. So there's a bit of an offset between how often the reader is pulling the messages down and the publisher is publishing the messages. But we can see here, roughly we're pretty consistent with just 1 queued message every moment. Again, demo application. But we can see that, we're using a quorum from a RabbitMQ perspective, and we're writing these things to the queue. And so that's part of this that we can see here in this Hubble UI. This is that RabbitMQ service. Now we switch over here, we can look at the other things within Cilium that we've got running. So here's the Cilium namespace. Okay, you can see that I have NFS storage. Again, I'm running an NFS operator for that environment to be able to dynamically create those persistent volumes, as well as having this Kubernetes kube logging namespace. And this is where the Elk stack is running. So in its current form, as the time of release for this video, the Project SignalWave does not yet tie into the Elk stack, but that is the next version that I'm working on. So you can see how generating those log messages and making sure they're both written to local output within the node, as well as out to an Elk stack for you to be able to have is going to be crucial. And so we have that Elk stack running as a service within this Kubernetes cluster as well. And then we also have this Cilium namespace where we are running Grafana and Prometheus as well. And we've modified Grafana and the Prometheus deployments from the YAML that Cilium publishes to be able to support Project SignalWave. So if you go out to the GitHub repository, if you want to be able to run Project SignalWave within your environment, go to github.com/virtualelephant. You'll see that I have it pinned here at the top, Project SignalWave, and we'll just look through this for a quick moment to show you the different components. So obviously there's a good description of what Project SignalWave is doing. You can see there's a folder for the different containers. So there are several containers that are running within the environment to be able to support it. So we have that Nginx, we have the publisher, we have the RRD graph, and we have the RRD tool container. So that RRD tool container, that's the reader container. That's the one that's pulling the messages off of the RabbitMQ service. And then RRD graph is the container that's actually going out and taking those RRD database files and creating the graphs that Nginx is displaying. And so that Nginx, the RRD graph, and the RRD tool containers, when they're deployed within the Kubernetes environment, they're all leveraging one shared persistent volume to be able to write their updates to and share information between. And then we have the publisher, and I'll show you here the publisher here. Really, the Docker file is very simplistic. It's merely running this publisher.py script. And this is the script that's going out. It's connecting to that RabbitMQ environment. It's going to make sure that it's able to connect to it. It's defining the different metrics from a Prometheus perspective as well, that it's also currently publishing out to Prometheus for us to consume from. It's creating the connection out to the RabbitMQ, and there's some error checking in here to make sure that the connection is it's able to connect and it doesn't fail. And if it does fail, it tries to retry until it finally expires over 60 seconds. And then it defines the metrics. It goes out and grabs the metrics from my virtualelephant.com website. You can also see here the website that it's going to go out and connect to here. That the parse, you can actually specify a URL. So within your container, you can choose your own website or whatever you want to do. You don't have to do virtualelephant.com. I'd probably prefer that you didn't. I don't know if my hosting provider is going to have a problem with hundreds of these things running out there, but we'll find out. But again, it goes through and it actually goes out and grabs all of these statistics. It's grabbing some others right now that I'm not actually doing anything with just yet. That's not creating graphs for, but it's gathering them anyways, and then it's going out and publishing them. If there's a problem, it's going to shut down the publisher for us as well. And so again, this is just going to run in an infinite loop. It's got a sleep time of 300 seconds that it's going to go and pause for between iterations. So again, it's going out and collecting those metrics on a 5-minute basis. But this is really the bulk of the application itself. And I was able to leverage ChatGPT. And in the next video that I'm going to be filming, I'm going to show you how I've leveraged ChatGPT specifically to create this application, because I think that's going to be a crucial skill set for all of us in 2025 and beyond, is learning how to productively use generative AI to be able to help us streamline writing of applications. Okay, and then you can see here there is a YAML file, a YAML folder rather, that has things for Cilium. So you can see here I've created an ingress object leveraging the HA proxy ingress controller that's running inside of Kubernetes to be able to expose the Hubble UI, as well as a monitoring ingress for Prometheus and for Grafana. And then the monitoring URL, or the monitoring YAML rather. Now this is the one that you can go out and publicly download from the Cilium website. Okay, you can grab this, and then I've gone through and I've edited it in a number of places at the bottom for Prometheus, so that Project SignalWave becomes an endpoint within Prometheus naturally within it. And so I have modified this for Project SignalWave, and you can leverage it within your environment. Okay, and then the Elk stack. So this is going to be crucial for the next version of the Project SignalWave application. I previously had a separate repository for the Elk stack. I've gone and taken that repository, updated it for newer versions of the Elk stack, and then put that into Project SignalWave. So you just download this one repository, and then you'll be able to deploy the entire application. And then obviously Project SignalWave itself, okay, with the different components that we are leveraging within it. Okay, and this is everything that you need to be able to run Project SignalWave as a demo application within your environments. Now, there's some other things here that are really just for me, and you can certainly consume them. There's a Power CLI script that I've written to be able to quickly deploy a Kubernetes cluster within my environment, as well as there's a README file for how to create the containers that you're going to need to be creating. I'm using a Harbor repository local to my environment, so I'm uploading all of my Docker containers to Harbor. I'll show those to you in just a moment. So if you're doing this out just to the Docker repo, or you're running your own Harbor instance within your environment, you'll tweak these to make sure that you're pushing them out to your repo and that the directions are kind of here for you. There is an installation guide, and this really shows you not just how to install Project SignalWave, but it shows you how to configure your Kubernetes cluster so that it has all of the additional components that it's going to need to support Project SignalWave. So it starts out by showing you how to leverage an NFS client provisioner, within the environment. It shows you how to deploy the HA proxy ingress controller for your services running within the Kubernetes cluster, as well as being able to then expose Hubble UI when you use the Cilium CNI. Again, it shows you how to deploy Grafana and Prometheus that are going to tie directly into your Cilium installation, and then creating the actual SignalWave namespace where you're now going to be deploying all of the components for Project SignalWave. So it shows you how to create that RabbitMQ operator, as well as then going out and creating the RabbitMQ instance that you're going to use for your environment. It shows you how to deploy the Elk stack, and then the actual application itself is down here. This is the custom SignalWave application, starting with the publisher service, the storage that you're going to be sharing between the reader, the graph, and the Nginx containers, and then deploying each one of those components, as well as the Nginx ingress controller. So again, this is a work in progress, but the current version is there, ready for you to go out and download off of my GitHub page to be able to start to deploy this within your own environments as a way to learn how to write a microservices application and run it within a Kubernetes cluster, as well as all of the different ancillary pieces or additional services that you need to run within your environment to be able to do all of these things. So I encourage you to check out Project SignalWave. Please let me know what you think of this video, what you think of the application by leaving a comment below. Make sure you like this video, and certainly make sure you subscribe to my channel, virtualelephant.com, and turn on the notifications so that you can find out when new videos are released. And I look forward to talking to you next time.